A lot of people ask about route books and pace notes and how we mark them up. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I think every co-driver has a different style. If you're writing your own pace notes, it's a much different exercise than if we're working from the route notes and the pace notes that are provided by the Carrera. So route notes are what we use on the transits to get from point A to point B, where from like the starting arch to the beginning of the first speed section, and then pace notes are what we're using in the speed stage, so they're more detailed. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the total distance of this, and I could see at 137 kilometers, and then the speed section distance is only 8, so I know that there's a large transit right after the end of this. And then I'm going to look at the total time, because we're going to need to be aware of time on that transit that follows the speed section. So I'm going to mark all of our time controls. I mark those all in yellow. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each instruction, and I'm going to take out anything that I don't need. So the Carrera will put in kilometer marks there, and I'm just going to strike that out. I don't want to read that, and when I strike that out, my eye is just going to jump past that. I can still read that, so if I get off notes and I don't know where I am, I can use those kilometer marks. I can still read them, but I know I will skip right past those. So the next thing then I'm looking for are hazards in the roads, things that I need to highlight for myself, so I make sure that I tell Chris with enough time. So like for here, this is a left one with dips. Dips can be really troublesome because they can really upset the balance of the car, and you don't really know how deep they are, so I'll make sure to highlight that. Certain things like this, right to with cliff, there's a lot of turns with cliffs in the Carrera, so that's not so unique. Once I've gotten through that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at the distances between these. So our car, the Mescalero, has a pretty good top speed, and when we can really run it out, we can gain some advantage over our competitors. So I want to make sure that I'm telling Chris not only how much distance he has between the turn we just completed and the next one, but I'm also going to highlight it and let him know if he can kind of wind that out. So here, 700 meters, 700 meters, 740 meters into a left one. That's a turn that we can carry a lot of speed into. This right 3, 720 meters to that right 3. I'm going to give him that distance to make sure that he can spot his braking zone, and 450 into another left 0. So that's a section where we can really carry a lot of speed. So I'm going to link those and make sure that I'm telling Chris that he can carry speed, because he knows that these turns that he's coming into are pretty shallow. That instruction, the last instruction, is repeated there. So I'm going to highlight that one and note that that's got something coming into it. All right, so then I'm going to go again through my whole process, and this ends right here, but we've got another 600 meters into right 0. So again, right 0, left 0, right into the finish, right? So that's a place that we can carry a lot of speed. So I'm going to highlight that for Chris. Then this is a time control, so I'll highlight that for myself to make sure that I'm giving that to him. Here's the stop control, and then one thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to highlight this. So after this speed stage, we still have 128 kilometers of a transit. So what I'm going to do is I'll go back and pull. This is the section time, 1 hour and 33 minutes. That's the max time we have to do that in, and we have to hit our check-in time exactly. So I'm going to put that, and so I know here, whatever we have left of that hour 33 after we've run the speed stage, we've got that time to do 128 Ks, and that'll let us accurately calculate what our average speed needs to be. So that's most of the work for marking up stage pace notes that are provided by the Carrera. It's a slightly different when we're marking up the route notes, but I'll tell you about that another time.